What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Your friends play Crash Bash Part 4. We are here in Warp Room 4, and we will begin going after all of the trophies and everything for... just give me a moment. Alright, sorry about the cut, but, you know, all you did was just miss a loading screen. Anyway, so here we are, Skyballs. Rules are still the same, except beware of the failing engines. You can see 4 engines as the corner posts for this time. What they will do is they will fail, and then you can see we are hovering on a metal disc pretty much. And what they will do is, you can see, they will tip the arena so that the balls will fall towards your, towards the goal, towards whichever corner post falls. Now, typically the corner post will, I've only ever seen it, or the majority of the time, the right engine fails, and that's neither good nor bad. It's just the one that typically fails, the right side engines. But more often than not, it seems like the your side of the arena falls more often than not. And one different thing, and another difference about this, other than the failing engines, is you can see that we are on a circle instead of a square. So the ship will control like you're on a disc or on a circle instead of a square. So instead of going straight lined, you're going on a quarter of a circle. And so that will catch you off guard if you're not prepared for it, because you'll have to change the angle in which you want to hit the balls. Like if it's just flat, you could come in on any side and you would be able to shoot the balls on any side. But because the angles are different, you can actually shoot them straight into someone else's goal just by being on right beside one corner post. So you have to be very careful about that. A lot of glitches will happen where they will where balls will be forced into your goal for I'm not sure why. They will just kind of sometimes just almost magically appear into your goal. If you're not careful, the kick will stay out longer if you do happen to miss a ball and you lose your kick. It will stay out a lot longer than what the other levels would. So that's another thing that you have to be careful of. And that's one thing that makes this so difficult, and I believe the number of balls that can be out on the arena at one time has been jumped up as well. What it's usually has been 4, 5 for both beach ball and in-ballism. I believe in this one it's up to 6, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't actually had the chance to count them. So you will definitely have to watch out for it. Crap. Like I said, you want to be very careful about losing your kick, and you want to be careful of the angles. You'll go diving for a ball expecting to kick it because you're going, thinking about it being in straight lines instead of curved, and you'll end up losing your kick because you didn't hit the ball just right. And so you have to be very, very careful about doing that. But anyway. And that's really all there is to it. The difficulty has increased. I would say this is borderline between... I'd say this is on easy mode still. Maybe somewhere borderline between medium and easy. The AI is definitely trying a lot harder because of the new challenges here. The circle that you're on, the failing engines, that makes it a little bit harder as well. So it's not super easy like the first and second warp rooms were. But it's not really that much quite as difficult as in-ballism is. I definitely say, while I don't like this level, I prefer to if you was to ask me to do one or the other, in-ballism or this level, I would much rather choose this level than in-ballism. But that said, this is not my favorite level, and this is kind of the reason why, because the balls, looks like there's 5 balls here as well. So, but you can see just what happens. You lose your right side, and that's the engine that fails the most, is the right side engine. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's like randomly generated to do that, or what it does, but you rarely see the front right engine fail. It's very rare. I haven't been paying attention all that much, but I don't think we've seen the right front engine fail yet. It might have, I haven't, like I said, I haven't been paying attention. It's usually the right side engine that fails the most, to be totally honest. Which is, I guess, okay. That's usually the side that ends up staying on the longest, is either Rillaroo or Dingo, depending on who you are, playing good or bad. And you can see here Rillaroo doing a lot better than anybody else, so you definitely want to have the left side engines fail, but you don't want to have your side of the field fail, engine-wise. But as I said, it's not as difficult as it seems. Definitely, just you have to get used to the curve. And the bad thing about it being on like a circle is that you may hit a ball and think, okay, well, it should go away now. Well, because of the angle in which you hit it, it can just end up you can end up just shooting the ball back into your own goal instead of shooting it out forward. And that is one thing that you have to be very careful of. And again, losing that extra kick, that's what allowed me to lose those points there. But if you just watch out, be careful, pay attention to the angles and all that, get a feel for the level. I probably won't end up winning this one just because Kong and Rillaroo are doing so good. Yeah, I didn't figure I would, to be honest. But I've actually never seen a match end like this, where it's the left side and the right side staying alive. But anyway, I usually do end up losing at least one round here. I don't like it just because it makes doing this level a lot longer. But there's not a whole lot you can do if you lose one. You just have to, as I said, pay attention. You can watch some of the other characters and how they make mistakes. If you watch what I just did right there, that's a prime example of thinking you can go after a ball and it should go straight instead of curved and go off, go through your goal instead of actually going straight. Yeah, I would definitely say, the scale of difficulty would be super easy, medium, hard, and then super hard. Well, this is kind of easy. I wouldn't say it's kind of borderline between medium and easy, because medium is typically left for the gyms, so I would definitely say this is just on easy, to be honest. It's not that hard to be. I keep saying it's not that hard, and yet I lost one. But it's the unpredictability of it, I guess you could say, because again, it's a circle, and and the engines do play a big role in it, especially depending on which gates fall. I mean, whether it's a rear, right, or left engine, it's if that left side gate is not open, or goal is not open, and that front ain't open, well, you're gonna have a lot of trouble going after the trying to win. Well, I've never actually had a double kill before like that. That's where they're both die at the same time. I've had them die about 2 seconds apart, but never both at the same time. That was actually pretty cool. Not as long as Endballism, but it was still pretty long. The matches can get pretty long there, especially just because of the difficulty and the competition that the AI does really well. But that is the last ball game. The first four, the ball, polar, pogo, and bash, will be the last of each of that genre, and then you'll see the new different genres that we've seen before. So, nothing new here, except for you can throw bombs with the circle button, collect bombs from the ice, and what those will do is those will knock a player off of their polar bear, and then you can shoot them again with a bomb to kill them and make them fall off the ice. You can see what Kong is doing. They skate around on the ice, but they become a lot harder to actually push off unless you can get them right on the edge and then just keep hammering them. The best thing to do is just to shoot them with a bomb, just to knock, just to shoot to kill them. You don't want to hit someone with an item over their head, because they will lose that item if you shoot them with a bomb. So, like in that case, if I would have shot Rillaroo, all that would have done was just knock the polar bear away. The weight would have also disappeared as well. So you want to be very careful about doing that, especially during relic matches. I have done that before and messed myself up and made it a lot more difficult for myself. So you want to be very careful. You can hit up. You want to be careful to not get knocked off your polar bear as well. But I mean, they're almost the players are usually faster than your polar bears, no matter which character you are. So you want to always try to charge. And if you do have an item over your head, the bomb will not cancel it out. So in a case like that, I had the lightning bolt over my head. The bombs would not cancel it out. You could not shoot the bombs, however. It's not like you keep them, but you still have the lightning bolt. You wouldn't lose the ability to shoot the bomb. But you can you can shoot two people at once with the bomb if you can get them in a big enough cluster together, which is great, especially especially if you can get a clump of them together, especially once they're off their polar bears. You just shoot one and it's gone. Now the thing is, while you are on foot, it's almost like hitting a brick wall, but once they run out of charge, especially if you're someone who can charge continuously, you can actually end up pushing them off the ice, and if they touch the edge while not on their polar bears, they cannot save themselves. If you get them over the edge, they will not be able to save themselves. So if you can, and that's the problem, getting them to the edge, but once they get to the edge, you just shove them, and they're off, and they can't save themselves, and that's one person that's gone. Anyway, so this one, big rule. Do not land on a square of your own color, or you will lose all of your squares that you have on the field at that time. Break the special crates again, just like with the other levels. Locks, something new, and a new missile, but lock your squares so other people cannot jump in them, and you cannot jump in them. Very useful. And the missiles stun your opponents to steal their squares, and I'll be able to show that off in a minute. Now this is by far people's most hated pogo game, just because of that fact, because you cannot jump on your own squares, and you end up losing a point. So say if you make if you make two squares, well, any other level that would allow you to have two squares, like if you made just like two lines, well, you would get 2 points from that. Well, if you don't, in this one level, and it's only for this level, you would end up only having 1 point. And so so you are pretty much losing a point. And I don't really go after these locks, but I do know their benefit. They let you jump in your own squares, and you've seen me lose out points because lose boxes because I haven't been able to get to them. And that's kind of the bad thing about making a whole field full of colors, and so not a lot of people, even the AI characters, won't get a whole lot of points. I mean, it's very rare to see anybody really get over 100. I've actually had one with just, I think it was a 58. That's how low, that's how high I was able to get it. But everyone kept stepping in their own squares, and that kept canceling out the points, so no one could really get any points, and I was just barely able to get ahead. You see, there you go, 97. That's really about all you're going to be able to do, to be honest. It's very, very hard to gain a whole lot of score here. just because of the fact that boxes randomly spawn in bad situations where you made in your own field of colors, and you may end up jumping on your own points or something, and it's just not a favorable thing. And now you will see something that is very sad sight to see indeed. Players jumping in their own points. They may shoot another character or you, and then jump in their own points, just like Rillaroo did. And while I didn't have that many points, it was still points that I could have cashed in and been able to get. Now you can jump on your own square if there is a box there. That will not cancel. That will not cancel out the. That will not cancel out your points, but you want to be very careful. And I got to shoot Rillaroo. Oh wow! I don't want to have to do another round of this if I don't have to. By 2 points, that would stink. Okay. Now you see there, I only got 1 point when in any other game I would have gotten 2 points, and there ain't no way I'm not gonna be able to get enough points. Yeah. Again, it's not one of those games that you can really commentate over, because you have to pay attention to box locations, missile locations, and locations for location for speed shoes. You have to watch the other characters to see how many points they have, and you really have to be paying attention all the time. And the reason why, then, and I'll go back to something with the extra points thing, is because with any other Pogo game, what you would do is you would end up losing. To get that extra point, you would have to jump on that last square. If that really doesn't make sense, but you would have to mark that spot right underneath the. You'd have to mark that spot right underneath the box. Well, in this game, it would end up canceling out the ability. You would cancel out your own points if you did that. So that's why they don't add that extra point to to your total once you hit a box. You end up losing that point so you don't jump in your own squares and then cancel out your points, especially if you have a bunch of points like I do. And I've gotten lucky. I've been able to shoot a few people that had quite a bit of points. If you look underneath the box, you don't look. If you can look at this box here, see, I didn't score underneath it. I just scored. Once I broke the box and my points totaled in and everything. That's actually the best I've ever done here. 180. I was able to shoot a bunch of people that had a bunch of points. I was able to grab some speed shoes early. That definitely helped. Shooting people is a lot better in this event than in any other event. I would definitely say it makes a lot more. It's definitely a lot. It's worth it a lot more to shoot people in this event than in any other event, just because you can gain their points. Especially if they have a bunch, like you saw me shoot Kong a few times last round to gain quite a bit of points. And now, for jumping in your own points, if you have maybe 5 or 6 and you don't have any boxes around, you can go ahead and jump in, and there's really no reason not to. The biggest penalty, I guess you could say, you would get from jumping in your own points, and when you would not want to do it, is if you had a bunch of points. Like then, if I had jumped in 14 points, that's not a very good idea, obviously. But if you just jump in them, if you have a handful, especially with all the other characters jumping in, and I got to be careful for Rillaroo now. Damn, that stinks. 15 seconds is way too long for this event. Oh, there we go. I was trying to shoot Kong, but I'll take Rillaroo, my next best competitor. And I'll see if I can get over. And the boxes. I'll say the boxes spawn a lot slower, and they seem to be a lot more spread out than in Pogo Painter. But coming off of El Pogo Loco, where you have groups of 3 boxes, usually, or you have 3 boxes at your disposal, and the ability to jump in your own squares, so that makes you think, oh, well, you know, every Pogo game should be like this, a whole bunch of boxes, and then you go to like somewhere like Pogo Painter, which is a little bit better, you know, the boxes spawn more frequently, they are more clumped together, and they're usually it's more of a favorable outcome for you to get the boxes. Pogo Painter, not so much, so you definitely have to be careful with it. So, a new thing here, collect extra weapons from inside the special crates. You'll see the special crates here. Press square to fire a weapon if you have it. The purple question mark boxes are the special crates. Okay, now the homing orb has 3 shots in it. 8-way missile has 2 shots, and the sonic ring has 1 shot in it. And again, you know, just use one to increase your health. So it's pretty much, you know, just open the crates and see who has what. These wooden crates, that's what these are. The white crates are wooden crates, and they don't hurt you worth anything. You have to pretty much just focus entirely on TNTs to be able to help you. And the one fruit you get out of the special crates is actually stronger than what you would get out of the one fruit that is littered around. And you can see it there. The blast radius for the energy orbs, or the homing orbs, whatever they call them, is actually pretty good. And if you can get a group of characters together, that would definitely help you out a lot more than not, you know, they're just hitting a single target. It definitely makes it a lot more worth it to try to go after a clump of characters. And now if you do take damage while you have an item, you've seen me hit people that had items before, and they would usually end up taking, you know, they will lose the item. It's not usually, well, yeah, it is kind of usually, it's kind of random how they end up losing the items. It's if they take damage right before getting hit by the item, they will usually not lose the item, but it's kind of random when it happens and how it happens. So you just have to be careful and watch out for it. But you know, just you wanna try to go after the special crates whenever possible, just for the homing orbs. And this is actually the most homing orbs I've ever had in a event here. Usually just gets sonic rings, and what sonic rings is they will repel boxes away, so you can actually use those to your advantage if you wanted to, you know, go into a group of crates and then just start shooting them at people. But they obviously work a lot better if you will shoot them at people instead of just allowing the. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being a tiny or Kong, is because of the reach that you get. You know, if I was just being Crash, you know, there would have been no way that I could have threw the box all the way across the arena to hit someone that had an item. The homing orbs, you do have to be kind of close to the people that you want to hit. You can't just be on one side of the arena and then shoot and then hope it'll stay. You notice how it would kind of spin around in a circle. That's kind of the extent of their range. You have to kind of be that close. I'm not sure exactly how close you have to be. It's not too close, but you know, you can't just, you know, cower at one end of the arena. All of the items have a range, especially the 8-way missiles. They definitely have a range. All right, so nothing new here except for the missiles that we were using in Big Bad Fox, and that it's free roaming. You are not confined to corridors in your with your tanks, and the mines act just like they did in it's kind of like Big Bad Fox. You know, it was open area. You have, you know, like using a Crash or a Cortex, you have a higher chance of missing often, and then having to cower in a corner or away, and then, you know, shooting them later. And now if you notice, these totem these totem heads will come down after, I believe, the minute mark. After 30 seconds, then they will come down, and they have an area of effect that their explosion, with their shockwaves, will do damage-wise, and it's definitely useful. Now, if you notice, the box that held the missile had a very tiny shadow. I guess I should have let that TNT blow him up, but you know, it doesn't really matter either way, to be honest. In a situation like this where I am more damaged than Cortex, a missile will definitely be helpful. A tie, wow. That's one of the benefits of being, well, he kind of died before me, but I mean, hey, that's kind of one of the benefits of being a Cortex, is that you have that speed in that shot, and you can end up shooting someone a lot faster than, you know, I had a missile. I was clearly, oh wow, you want to be careful if the AI has a missile, because they will usually use it. You can make them lose but all I have to do is wait for the totem pole to come apart. Now, what the totem pole will do is it will walk, you know, it will come off its thing, and then it will walk around the entire arena, stomping on the ground if you wait long enough. Of course, I don't intend to wait that long, because usually something goes wrong if you wait that long, but let's see. Yeah, you have to be careful with the drops. The helicopter comes in because the tanks, the Wumpa Fruit, and the extra mines, the extra mines, the Wumpa Fruit, all that is the exact same box style. You know, it's just a flat square, so you have to be very careful. And you can watch what the tikis do, or the totem poles do, as they come down. They do have a blast. I should have moved down instead of up, but they do have a shockwave that they will stomp down. You know, once they decide to stomp down, they will have an area, a shockwave that they will use. One of the bad things about being crashed, especially for this stage, you know, you have the weakest bullets of anybody. Well, I'm going to say the weakest, because Rillaroo is hurting me for more damage than anybody else has, or than I was hurting him. There we go. It's definitely difficult with Crash, and it's only going to be more and more difficult as we go along through the challenges with the with the tanks. And so that's why I would kind of suggest using Tiny, but there's more benefits I feel for using Crash than Tiny, but it's entirely, you know, player preference again. You know, I mean, some people may find Cortex or Brio better than a Tiny or a Crash or something, you know, so it's player preference again, entirely up to you. Same rules here, except you use the circle to generate a force field. Cut the stars for a force field. They replace the missiles, and you can see these toxic barrels litter the arena now. Usually, more often than not, if you let someone get on the inside of you early, you know, right at the start, that will allow you to miss the inside toxic waste barrel. And the toxic waste barrel is actually the same, I believe it's the same design as we saw in Engines Labs during CTR, and also I believe in Toxic Waste from Crash 1. I'm not sure, that one kind of looked a little bit more red than these look a little bit more brown and rusty. But they definitely take a lot more design after the barrels from Engine Labs. Now you can see the sludge monster will come out and drop 3 little sludge droplets that will act kind of like a missile, or, you know, being hit from someone from behind, and they're not too difficult to dodge. You know, as long as you stay on the extreme outside or inside, they will not hit you. But if you stay on the inside of the track, they will hit you. So you want to choose one. You know, with my staying on the very inside, that they don't bother me. But if you like to stay on the middle of the track, you know, you will have trouble with it. Remember, always minding the. There's really enough barrels and everything that you really don't have to risk yourself going after Wumpa Fruit. Of course, you know, it is nice to have, especially once they start to try to go on the inside as well, or they just mess with you. But you can see here, I'm very, very clearly in the lead. You know, I was 5 laps ahead of them all. And that's really just because of the toxic barrels. That plays a huge role in it, because they are all over the place, while you can just choose one line. They won't always go on the inside, so you do have to be careful, but it's better to go ahead and knock that out on lap 1 instead of waiting until lap 2, or, you know, instead of waiting till the end of the race when you still have that barrel, or at a midway point in the race for that barrel to go away. And you do want to boost ahead of somebody if they do have a force field around you, because they will more often than not actually end up messing you up. And so just again, you know, stay on the inside, look around, see what the other players are doing, what they have. Try to pick up a few pieces more fruit if you can, if they are along the way. If not, don't worry about it. You can see here, just doing what I was doing the last 2 rounds, very clearly in the lead, didn't have no trouble, stayed out of the slime balls. Again, you had no trouble. Easy. Very easy. That level up seems to be a lot harder than it actually is, or I guess looks at first glance to be a lot harder than it actually is. Just, you know, stay on the inside, stay away from sludges. As long as you're not on the outside, and of course, you know, you can't for sure say, okay, well, you just hide on the inside, you'll be fine. You know, if you remember my first round, I definitely got thrown around, but more often than not, you'll be fine if you stay on the inside. Alright, so burst your own balloons to score jump to burst balloons. Win by being the player with the highest score when time runs out. Press circle to attack other players. Press square to jump. Collect power-ups from inside the special crates. The blue hover boots allow you to move freely in any direction. And the vacuum cleaner attracts balloons towards you. Burst black bubbles to affect the action. Burst one of three things. One will be burst other players' balloons. One will change the ring's direction. And the other changes all balloons to your color. You do not want to hit that until you have either you have a very comfortable lead, or you have a very comfortable lead, or you are very near the end. Now you can see, well, if someone does it, because the thing is, all the other AI characters will go around and start to do it themselves. They will just keep hitting it over and over, and more often than not, it will end up turning all the balloons to their color. The thing about changing the, and I can see sometimes the characters will just stay there and get, you know, kind of follow after their own balloons for a while, and they'll just sit for a while, and they will be content. Oh, you want to be careful doing that. That's the best way to gain points. Turn all the balloons to your color, and then have a vacuum cleaner. That is the best way to go after points. You want to be careful doing something like that. You know, having the other characters go after the balloons of their own color. Typically, they won't go after the boxes. You know, you can usually get to them by yourself just fine. But now this is a great way to score points, as long as you can spin the other characters. This is another reason to be Crash or Coco, because you can spin. If you have an item, the other characters will usually come and try to take it away from you. And so that's why you want to be able to have the spin. It's very difficult to shoot anybody, to kick anybody, or to use the tail whip that Rillaru and Dingo use. It's very difficult to be able to do that. Now, if you hit a player enough times, they will actually come and purposely hunt you down just to hit you for no reason. Well, I guess it's more other characters will do that. You know, if you hit a character enough times, you know they will have a reason to hit you. But you want to be careful of the ring's direction as well. I haven't explained that yet. If you run with the rotation of the ring, you will run faster. If you run against it, you'll run slower. If you have the blue hover boots, that will negate the effects of that, and then you'll run a set. Oh crap! I didn't mean to do this, but that's fine. You know, Kong got his balloon, or got the vacuum cleaner, and was able to waste it. Now, if you notice, the colors here are the same colors that you lay down for the Pogo games. You know, they are colored. You know, they're color designated to the. Oh crap! You want to be careful because sometimes they will change the flow of the flow of the ring on you, and that will end up messing you up. So you want to be very careful about that. But just sitting here riding with the vacuum cleaner and holding out as long as you possibly can. I have actually broke 50 points before. Sadly, I won't be able to do that today, but that's I have been able to do it before, only once though. But you know, there's really not a whole lot to say past that. You know, I guess I was talking about the color coded for the players. You know, player 1 is yellow always on a color-based game. Player 2 is red, player 3 is blue, and player 4 is green. And so that, oh crap! If someone has a balloon, you want to immediately take it away from them. You know, if you have to start the black balloon stuff, you know, go ahead and start doing the black balloon stuff, because if they have a vacuum cleaner, you want to take it away from them immediately. I'm actually surprised they're actually going after the vacuum cleaners a lot. I'm surprised they're going after the special crates that much. Now, you don't want to waste a lot of time trying to go after the special crates, because more often than not, you know, I haven't been able to get it for quite a while, and now I'm behind in points. You know, Rillaru has a very big lead on me. And so I'm unable to really catch up. So now I'm having to play catch up. And instead of building a lead with the if I did get a balloon or a vacuum cleaner, you know, I'm having to play catch up. And you do not want to do that if you end up having a you don't want to tie either. I guess that's okay. Just ring ding's okay. It's just it seems a lot longer than a minute 30, and it's really tedious and it's not my favorite level of this medieval mayhem. That's what the game genre is titled underneath, medieval mayhem. It's but you know, it's got medieval levels with it, you know, that we will do later on, and you will have to this one is obviously not a medieval-based level, but you know, there are some medieval-based levels, and that's why it's called medieval mayhem. Now, if you know, like going through a section like this, if you don't want to start the black balloon run, you know, if you don't want to make all the characters start to try to break the balloons to their own colors, and really sometimes you have to, you know, I don't like to do it just because it keeps me from scoring as much, but if you have to, you have to. Let's see if I can, there we go. You want to be careful though, because you know, the other people around your feet, if you do have the vacuum cleaner, sometimes that will happen. A glitch will happen where you are clearly going after the balloon or after the vacuum cleaner, and it doesn't register for whatever reason. You know, it doesn't register that you get it. It's not too bad. Sadly, I had to play 4 rounds instead of just 3, but it's okay. I guess it's not that bad. But yeah, you definitely want to be Crash while going through here, or Coco. Doesn't matter. You know, either one. They both jump. They both jump and run the same height and distance respectively. Alright, so for this boss, let's see, we need 22 trophies, 15 gems, and 12 crystals. So we need to get 5 gems and 5 crystals. So for crystals, I will go back to Warp Room 2, and I will clear out Warp Room 2. For this crystal, one of the crystals that we're going to get for Space Bash, this is why you want to be Crash or Coco while trying to go after this, or try to do this, because this is very, very fun. And instead of it being based in the future, it's actually based in Egypt, themed off of the Egypt levels from Crash 3. And the challenge here, and I say that sarcastically, is win without the ability to pick up crates. And so, there is no normal crates, they are all explosive, and so all you have to do is just spin them around, pretty much. You just spin a whole bunch of explosive crates, you make as many holes as possible, you let people hop around and end up, inevitably killing themselves. You have to watch out for people throwing crates at you, but it's very fun, very, very fun. It's one of those challenges where you could just play any time. You do have to be careful though, because the boxes you see there, the TNT ate about, I would say, a quarter of my health. So you do have to be mindful of that. The difficulty is set on hard, so the boxes will hurt you for quite a bit. And there is only, oh wow, I didn't expect that nitro to pop up when I hit spun. You do have to be careful, because these are the most damaged boxes that you have here. And so just anything that will end up hurting you, you want to be careful of. And there's that Z, the dreaded Z. Just because you move in slow motion, and usually your jumping is affected, and you want to be very careful jumping around because of something just like that. But of course, you can also take advantage of that, and if Cortex had jumped across that gap, I would have been able to not be affected by it. And Cortex is going to kill himself here. Oh, thought he would kill himself. I guess not. Nah, he'll jump across here, and then I'll be, or I'll just go over there to him. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll just come over here to him. Try to spin him down a hole, just like in Crash 3. Kind of even falls like he did in Crash 3. But I mean, you could just sit here and spin him, or spin a box into him. One of the, want something. There we go. Fun, very easy. I wasn't paying attention every time I did die, so it's not something that you really die from. It's by far one of the, if not the easiest crystal in the entire game to get. And definitely one of the, if not the funnest crystal to get. But anyway, so now I have to go to Desert Fox. And the thing here is, not only is the difficulty ramped up too hard, your bullets will hurt less, theirs will hurt more. You have to watch out for defeat your opponents while avoiding the water perils. There will be a kind of like a submarine spy hole, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called. One of those things that will drop lobbing bombs on you, and they can go out only they will always shoot at you. They won't shoot at anybody else. You can see the distance that they can get. Oh crap! I was gonna say I shouldn't have dropped it there. They'll only shoot at you. They can only shoot a. They can't shoot a full. Like across a. What do you call it? Across a gap or across a wall. You can make the other characters take damage from them, but it's not that useful. And in a situation like this, you would want to shoot yourself. Oh wow, really? If I hadn't have bounced it off the wall, I would have hit Rillaroot, would have killed him, would have came back for Cortex and I could have killed him. You want to be careful about letting Rillaroo escape. You know, doing the kind of pinning Cortex in here is not a bad idea. It's definitely not a favorable idea, but it's not a bad idea, to be honest. As if you can force him to take a whole bunch of damage. Okay, you don't want to get in a situation like this. Well, there's really nothing you can do there because my bullets aren't strong enough to kill anybody. Really, if you can just like drop a mine in the intersection of one of these walkways, that will definitely help you out a lot more than anything else you could really do. Again, remember, if you do die, or if you fail 15 times, the game will take pity on you, and you will okay, I didn't think they could hit you from there, so I guess they can. Lose 15 times, the game will take pity on you, and it will be a lot easier, and you can take advantage of that more on one of these, on a crystal or a gem than a relic would be able to. I mean, you could just sit here and shoot Rillaroo and have mines shoot at, or try to get mines to shoot at Kong. I don't believe the bombs lobbing out of there are instant kills. At least I don't think they are. They may be. You know, I just might have had enough damage where it seemed like it, you know, or that's where it was strong enough. But of course, that water peril will hurt you a lot more than it would hurt them, you know, naturally. Again, nothing I could really do. I boxed in both sides. I wouldn't have been able to kill Cortex with that with my bullet strength where it is right now. And this is kind of one of those reasons why you want to be a Tiny or a Kong going into something like this. Of course, you know, your bullets won't be at max strength, but they will be a lot better than what they are now, by far. And you wouldn't die as much. Now, you can shoot across that water if you want to, or if you come into that position where you can actually shoot across the water. I don't find much use in it, but, you know, if you can, it definitely helps. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yes. That's what I needed to happen. I was just about to shoot Cortex, but he did laugh. I believe he laughs in points instead of actually just laughs by himself. You could just kind of barely see it, but I believe that's what he does. He laughs and points it. And, you know, it's supposed to be a taunt. He's supposed to make you mad and want to go after him and shoot at him, and of course that would have killed me, so I'm glad the bomb had blew him up. I wasn't sure if it would. It's kind of weird, the hitboxes for the bomb. You know, they can seem like they will get hit, but they won't, and then a time like that where I wasn't sure, you know, he did get hit. But anyway, so we'll go after the crystal for here. This one won't be fun, to be honest, but beware, engine will only attack your goal. It is very, very difficult and very, very tedious, but we are in a square again, so that makes it a little bit easier instead of it being a circle. Now, the frequency in which is random. The frequency in which he throws the balls will be random, so, you know, he may only shoot one, or I've actually had him shoot none before. Just appear, you know, just to get in the way. And because he is only shooting at you, that makes it a little bit easier to deflect the balls where you want them to go instead of them shooting everywhere. So it's not that bad of a thing. It's just the hard difficulty that the other players are on. They will try harder. They will shoot balls towards your goal more. All you have is the force fields instead of the magnets, like in beach ball, to use. So you know, just everything. You just have to be careful. You know, especially if another character gets a force field, they will more often than not actually shoot them towards your goal than anybody else's for whatever reason. You know, difficulty spike. So you want to be careful. You want to watch out for that. You want to watch out for one character getting too much health or doing too good, like Rillaru is. You want to try to throw a couple balls his way, then lower his points if you can. You want to be careful if you like to dump balls into the right side goal, like I do, if I can get my kick back. And for whatever reason, if you lose your kick a whole bunch of times in like rapid succession, one after the other, you'll actually lose it for a lot longer, which doesn't really make sense. I guess difficulty, you know, it kind of teaches you what you need to be careful. But with this level, you really can't help it. You know, you almost will do that from time to time. There we go, another double kill. Just about lost that one. If Engine had come back, I think I would have lost. So I'm glad, if Engine had come up quicker, I would have definitely lost. So I'm glad I was able to finish that. But this next crystal that I'm going to have to do is not going to be fun. These next two crystals here with, I guess I have to do the gym too. With Melt Panic and El Pogo Loco, these are not going to be fun at all. Yeah, just be ready. They're not fun. They're very difficult, very tedious. Win by defeating the other players in a lot of time. You only have 25 seconds, and you know you really need a lot more than that. But I have seen matches end very quickly within 5 seconds before. So you just have to be careful. Really, the best thing that will help you out is the way the beams will fall for you. You know, if enough people will get knocked out by the beams, or will get negatively affected by the beams. Will get affected by the beams. That is really the only way that will save you. There's really nothing you can do if someone comes up to you like that and you don't have any boost left. If you don't have any boost left and someone hits you off, but you know, there you go, 5 seconds. You know, sometimes it can happen really quickly. Sometimes you can drag it out for quite a while, and it's a lot more difficult. But the crystal here is not going to be fun, as I have been saying, because the challenge here is you have to win without the ability to save yourself from falling off the edge. So if you get charged towards the edge, or you know, get off the edge, you'll just fly right off. You won't be able to save yourself and then push yourself, you know, to be able to push yourself back up onto the arena. So you have to be very careful. That win without the ability to save yourself from falling. So that's pretty much what I just said. But anyway, now the background for here is supposed to look a lot like the. There you go, just right off. This looks like the underground sections of the snow levels from Crash 2. If you remember, all of these levels, or all of these snow levels, or all of these polar levels, are supposed to share a feature with one of the with a snow level from Crash 2. Well, I guess the snow and polar bear levels, and this kind of has elements from the underground section, or I guess the 2D sections of the snow levels from Crash 2. Now the thing here is they will try a lot harder. Charging into them is not that fun to do. They will go after you more, and charging them head on is like charging a bunch of bricks, or like a brick wall. It's very, very difficult to do. And so you have to be very careful when you want to do it and how you want to do it and all that. Just really the only thing you can do is just let them take themselves out. Hope they get, you know, the the beams hurt them, they knock themselves out, and then you just go after whoever's left. You know, if you're feeling, I guess lucky, you could try it and knock someone off, but I typically don't. Just because of that, because you can't save yourself from falling if you miss. And usually they won't go after the beams as much as they would before. Again, just missing. You know, you have to make sure you're dead on. And I think I'll just sit here for a minute and see what happens. I'll let them take them out unless they fight each other stupidly for it. See if I can get him to come underneath the beam and... well, that's not really that useful, but... No. Of course, you wouldn't get hit by the beam again. And this is pretty much what you have to do. You know, they are pretty much, you know, once they get to the edge and then they slide like this, they're pretty much baiting you to try to get you to come over there and attack them. Well, usually I would, but in a situation like this, I wouldn't, just because, you know, you have to be careful because you can't save yourself from falling. And really the only thing you can do is just hope that the beams will fall your way. And there you go. You know, not too difficult. Well, yeah, it is actually too difficult, but definitely one of the hardest. I won't say the hardest, but it is one of the hardest crystals to go after, because of just, you know, because you won't be able to see, because you can't attack, because you can't save yourself from falling, and you kind of have to rely on Uka Uka's beam. Of course, you can force them to get underneath the beam, but you know that's hard, and sometimes you only get you know, someone being small or a weight, and sometimes that can go wrong for you. You know, you have to run from them, and they charge into you, they push you off. It's very difficult. Anyway, so win by being the first to decrease your score to 0 in the allotted times. We have 120 to 80. It's a little bit easier, but because the other characters will be trying a lot more than they have been in the past, and so you have to be ready. You have to be paying attention to everybody's scores. Just, you know, not just like Rillaroo. You know, you can't pay attention to one person's scores. You have to watch everybody, because if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden someone could come up there and you know, you hear you fail. Oh, well, how did I fail? Well, you look at someone who doesn't, you know, who got all their points gone really quickly, like Koala Kong or Rillaroo. You know, Rillaroo's usually the one who will do it more often than not, but you just have to watch out for everybody around these things. I am getting close to Rillaroo. I'm tied with him right now. But now that he's got a pair of speed shoes, I doubt I will be able to win. Yes. That was close. Too close, to be honest. If he had jumped into that box, I don't think I would have won. But you can see the boxes right behind me, how they usually are clumped together instead of, you know, spread out like in Pogo Painter. Or no, I guess it was Pogo Padlock, that was it. You know, just how spread out they usually are. Now this crystal definitely has a spot on the top 5 hardest crystals to get. Avoid Rippero's Nitro attacks. What Nitros do is if you jump onto one or get within the blast radius, it is an immediate death. It is an immediate failure. And what he will do is he will jump around the arena trying to go after you. What you have to do is you have to focus on getting speed shoes, but you want to watch out and try to stay away from him, because he will hunt you down. And if he gets to you, he will drop. If he's beside you, he will drop nitros down. He won't drop nitros all the time, and of course the nitros are not an instant kill, or you know, an instant death or whatever for the other players. So you have to be careful. have to pay attention to where Ripperoo is at all times, even if that means sacrificing boxes. You have to stay inside the middle of the arena to make sure that you do not end up getting hit by Ripperoo. I mean, you want to. It's not like the mushrooms where you just could say, oh well, I can stay away from these, from everyone else and just kind of sit in a corner. You have to always stay on the move. You cannot get near the edges of the arena. If you get within 3 squares of the edge of the arena, he will come for you, and he will usually, more often than not, drop nitro. Well, he will always drop nitros, but it depends on how many nitros he drops. That's the bad thing. And I can still screw it up here in the last few seconds. That's nice. Really, if you notice, the motorcycle crashes the motorcycle and the alien sign. I didn't point that out in the background. Really, if you can get over 120, you're usually good. I have had other players, other characters come over 150 before. So it's really, you just have to, you have to be careful and pay attention. So I need 3 more so I can clear out the rest of the gyms here in the third warp room, and then I can go to the 4th warp room. But you just have to be careful, pay attention, watch out for Ripperoo. Stay within 3 squares. Stay within on the inside of the 3 squares of the outside edge, and you should stay, and you should be okay. It is just so difficult. With that one, if you can do that, what I did, give yourself a 3 square cushion between yourself and Ripperoo. You shouldn't have any trouble at all whatsoever. It's the easiest thing in the world. But if you don't, and you just keep going after points, and really because you can't just say, oh well, just go hide in a corner or or go hide in the middle of the arena, because you have to pretty much go everywhere to get boxes. You always have to pay attention and make sure you get boxes. And because Ripperoo can just jump across the arena and come towards you, or turn towards you, like if he's laying down nitros, and you turn left to avoid him, and he turns left and then hops right back up the arena, you're in a bad spot. Just have to be careful, pay attention, watch. It's kind of luck, luck does have a kind of a part of what you're doing. It's not too difficult really past that. Now with Snow Bash, that is actually pretty difficult to get because of, and I'm not sure if it's just the snow or what it is, but it seems like it is very difficult to kill people for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just one of the hardest gyms to crate crush gyms to get. I'm not 100% sure why. It's just very, very difficult. You really can't mess around here too long with this. Of course, if you don't have someone who can do a lot of damage quickly, you're really not going to do a whole lot. You really want to have to go after a lobbing bomb quickly. You really can't just leave people to their own little areas and just hope that they kill themselves, because you don't have time to waste doing that. You want to try to lay a mine down and hope that they get pinned down in that corridor, and so that they will get affected by the mine. Again, try to go after Wumpa Fruit, lobbing bombs, anything you can get to help you out. That will definitely make it a lot easier. Just remember to allow mines to damage people a lot more. You can see how much Cortex is actually damaging me. In a situation like this, you may want to go ahead and shoot yourself just to minimize the damage that you take. Just because it is so much damage that you'll take from the other characters that are stronger and have better bullets and more damage. Can damage you a lot worse than you can them. It's like, Kong, he just has a little sliver of health left, but it's just enough to keep him alive. You don't have, because your bullets cannot damage them enough to knock out that much health from them. But anyway, you know, if you have like a tiny or pretty much a tinier Kong is about the only good people with tanks. I don't know why they say, you know, Crash and Coco's bullets are good all around bullets, because they're not. You know, they're slow, they don't hurt worth crap, and as you go on with the crystals and both relics, they will get harder to do, and these to win. It'll get harder as you go on. And you can see here, you are down by 2 laps at the start. You want to be careful, because sometimes that glitch will happen where if you pin them, you know, if they get pinned down at the start, they will actually gain a lap for whatever reason. That will sometimes happen while you are doing this. But what you want to do is, the best way to be able to do this is just to build up a little pile of Wumpa fruit, so that you can be able to go around them a lot faster and be able to gain, you know, to make up those 2 laps. But you have to be careful, because you do have an allotted time that you have to beat, and you can't mess around. You know, see, I'm already running low on that time, and you can see the music will always speed up. If it's like a timed based thing, the music will always speed up when you have 15 seconds left. I didn't mention this the first time, but I think I did talk about it with the level information. But that is the remixed theme for Dingo's from Dingo's theme from Crash 3. Okay, I got enough of everything that I need. That is the remix theme for it. It pretty much sounds the same. I think maybe a few instruments are changed. The tempo might have changed a little bit as well. I know that's a lot faster than what Dingo's is. And I want to go ahead and save this really quickly, just to make sure nothing happens. Because sometimes this boss fight won't load properly for me, and I've done too much to lose.
Thank goodness you have made it this far. I now believe Wooka has been fooling us. You must succeed in the final challenge before I can safely hide the crystals you have won.
Alright, so we have to race Oxide again. Well, we have to beat Oxide. It's not actually a race. We're gonna do a ballistics game. Chase and defeat in Oxide. You can see here we are in a ship. You move up to go down, down to go up. Kind of like airplane controls. Move left to go left, right to go right. Pretty much. What Oxide will do is he will have these missiles, or these mines laid out, and you've seen the mines. But these mines, you have to shoot them. He will shoot missiles at you, and he will also drop nitros, or a string of nitros around, which will damage you. If you run into anything, that will damage you as well. If you run into any of these panels, or the asteroid with the rocket on the other end, that will damage you. You want to be careful to taking too much damage, especially for this section. These big mines will hurt you as well. And now we are, I believe, going to Gas Moxie. I'm not 100% sure if that's where it actually is. We can see Oxide over there. And all we have to do is play a ball game. Except the rules are different, as they always are with Oxide. He is very, very good. It is actually, you have to fail quite a few times to actually be able to get any balls to go past him. And you can see the missiles over there. We don't get missiles on our side. The only thing that we get is the ball turrets are on our side, are on our corner posts, and they will actually follow Oxide around and try to shoot, or try to get the balls to go past him, but obviously they won't. But the controls act pretty much the same as every other ball game. You know, you move left to go, you move the control stick and directional buttons to move left and right. You hold the L1 or R1 buttons down to go faster. Except for points, you do have a life bar or a health bar. And all you have to do is just make sure that balls don't go by. There will be different phases to the missiles, and also a red ball, which is an instant death ball. But if it goes past you, you will not lose any health. So that's okay. You don't have to worry about that one going by. But if you do let the red ball go past you, it is an instant death. So you do want to be very careful. The missiles will begin to fire in different patterns, and there will be more of them. These missiles here, the third wave of missiles, will start to fire at different intervals, and they are harder to miss. going to be very careful. And I want to be careful of the extra kick, losing it. It tends to happen from time to time. I believe this set of missiles here will also fire at different intervals. So, oh no, I guess they reset the missiles. You know, yeah. Okay, so they do reset after a time. And you want to be careful because sometimes that red ball will just kind of bounce back and forth, and there really is no way that you can dodge it. You cannot kick it because if you touch it at all, you will lose, and it'll be an instant failure immediately. So you want to be very careful about that. Just you can watch the missiles dodge you. You know they will continue to dodge you. They will continue to track you, and after a while they will stop. They won't shoot immediately as soon as you stop, so you don't have to worry about that. Like sitting still won't affect anything, whether whether they shoot or not. Now with Oxide will never lose any kick, and you can see the backs and sides of my ship light up white. That means I have kick available. They will go dark if I don't have any kick available. So you want to that's just the way to tell whether you have that extra kick available. You can see they're dark right now, so I don't have the extra kick. Of course, Oxide can touch the ball. If it goes past him, it's also it does not. I don't believe it hurts him. It may. I've never actually paid attention close enough to actually see whether it does or not. But you can just see how good he is. I mean, of course, there has been a few balls that have gone by him with their rounds. You just saw there was one there. But you really have to fail a bunch of times for this to get any easier, to be honest. Usually this takes me about 20 to 25 attempts to be able to make it. I'm doing okay here, but I don't really like to be too optimistic whenever I'm doing this. This is by far the hardest boss fight out of all of them, just because of all the things that are here and that is added. You have to be really careful. Just if I get hit one more time, the missiles can damage you, and they will take quite a big chunk of your life from you. Now, if you notice, Oxide did lose the other ball, then he did blow up, but sadly I'd already failed, and that didn't count. But anyway, I believe only 5 balls can be here as well. I haven't counted them before, to be honest. There's just so much you have to worry about. The balls, the missiles, you really can't pay attention to a whole lot. Okay, so the game's starting to take pity on me a little bit because he shouldn't have let those balls go by him, so maybe it'll be early. Oh, it seemed like the missiles were firing at different intervals earlier on, like in the second phase instead of the third. Now this definitely is a lot harder than sky balls to make the balls hit you, because sometimes they will, I know I've been letting them pass into my goal a lot, but I hit one expecting it to go forward. All it did was just go to the left, and then I somehow had got it back into my goal. Now you can't taunt Oxide, and Oxide does not appear to have a taunt. Like, see, right there, instead of it going forward, it went to the side, because I believe the extra kick is all around your ship instead of just on the fronts of the ship, like with the other ball games. So that may have something to do with that. I don't know for sure. And you want to be careful with the red ball. There are some angles that you just cannot, that you won't be able to avoid the red ball from. So you want to be very careful and pay attention to it. Just the missiles again, you want to watch out for how they're aiming at you, or where they're aiming at you. There's just no way. Very, very difficult. You really have to just. This is another one of those things where you can't actually. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention, but I don't think he actually took damage from that. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difficulty has changed. Wow, it seemed like he was taking a lot more damage from those balls than the previous. Okay, so the audio seems to have went out again. That's wonderful. And I don't remember right off the top of my head what they are saying. I'll see if I can find what they are saying. Yeah, that stinks. Don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why that happens. Why the thing goes out for. But yeah, that was the kind of the story mode for the I guess for the game. Going after all the trophies and everything, or just the main trophies. Unlike other Crash games, you do not have to beat the boss, the final boss twice. So there's really no reason to. You don't gain anything from it, and it's definitely a hard enough boss fight to not want to play it again. But anyway, it's definitely it's a party game, to be honest. It's not fun, but it's not. Well, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's a party game. That's what it is by itself. It's a party game, and it's supposed to be based around a party game, so you really can't say that it's really fun. It's it's kind of hard to say. I mean, it's a good game for what it is. It's challenging enough in some places. It's fun in some places as well. Of course, not everywhere. There's several events and everything that I don't really find all that fun, but for the most part, it's an okay game. It's a party game. I'm kind of indifferent to party games. The thing is that a lot of people said that this copied Mario Party. That a lot of ideas and things like that came from Mario Party, and I'm not sure whether that is true. Whether they took a lot of ideas from it, and a lot of people said that this was kind of Sony's answer to Mario Party. Sega released a party game for the Sonic, and not like this style, but it was a party game. Party games all kind of take from that same base thing where you have a group of about 4 people able to play something. So this is the 5th warp room, the hidden warp room. You can see the other levels here. The other levels that we didn't see before: the medieval mayhems, the dashes, the fox levels. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the trivia for the levels I've done so far. So Skyballs is the 16th arena in Crash Bash. The arena sometimes tilts towards a certain player, making the balls roll toward their goal. All players start with 20 points. No trivia. The ground, but there is one bit of trivia that I've forgotten to mention. The ground underneath Skyballs is the same ground underneath that is in the level by Blimps from Crash 3, so level 17. So Manic Panic is the 17th arena in Crash Bash. In this arena, you can pick up bombs and throw them by pressing the circle button. If the bomb hits another player, the player's barrel will blow up, and a player will fight with their skating skills. If a bomb hits a skating player, the player is blown up and loses. Trivia: if you shoot the bombs at the skating players, they will blow up and leave a black mark. You can hear a splash sound after the mark is gone. If you hit someone with a bomb just before the anvil falls on him or her, you will see that they are in a pose as if they were flung off their polar bear just as the weight crushes them. The easiest way to complete this level in adventure mode is to either bomb your opponents till time runs out, or by playing as Cortex or Brio and get to this level, have a bomb and a full charge meter. This is what you do. Look for the target you want to hit with a bomb. Make sure he is as close to the edge. Hit the target with the bomb with accuracy and quickly charge. Do not miss, otherwise you will fail to do it. Into the target and as she gets hit, and try to knock them off the edge. Well, that seems like a lot more work. To be honest, it's just I find this a lot easier just to play the level like you would any other polar bear level. Alright, so Pogo Padlock is the 18th arena in Crash Bash. Do not land on a square of your own color, or you will lose all your colored squares. If you shoot an opponent with a missile, you will not only will you stun them, but their squares will become your color, as the name implies. There will be a padlock in the arena from time to time. It will move around, but if the player gets it, it will lock all of the player's squares for a short time. No trivia for this level, so we'll go to Drain Bash. Drain Bash is the 19th arena in Crash Bash. In this arena, the purple question mark crate makes its only appearance. Break these crates and the player may get a Wumpa Fruit. One of the 4 crates contain the power-up instead of blocks. Locked crates appear in this level. It is set in the sewer levels of Crash Bandicoot 2. Well, they're pretty much wooden crates. No trivia for this level, so we'll go to Jungle Fox. Okay, Jungle Fox is the 20th arena in Crash Bash. In this arena, it has a totem pole in the center. The totem pole falls on the arena, and his fall will cause massive damage to the players. Unlike the previous Tank Wars levels, the player can move around freely in their tank rather than being constricted to movement in linear direction. Sometimes missiles will fall that will inflict massive damage. Trivia: in the demo version of Crash Bash, the player uses bombs and missiles rather than their regular weapon. That wouldn't have been too bad. It's make it a lot easier to use like someone like Crash or Coco. Toxic Dash is the 21st arena in Crash Bash. It has exploding toxic barrels along the edge and a monster made out of slime that appears in the center of the circular track that claps its hands together to form 3 blobs to jump across the track. All players start with 10 laps. Players need to watch out that they don't fall into the toxic or they will lose time. This arena is based on the toxic levels from the first game. The toxic waste, pretty much. It's exactly what it's copying. So for Ring Ding is a mini game in Crash Bash in which the player has to pop the most amount of balloons in order to win. The player moves around in a rotating wooden cog against 3 other opponents. Depending on which way the cog rotates, the players can walk with or against the force of the cog. The players can open purple crates or pop the black balloon for an advantage in scoring. The players can use a square to kick open crates or temporarily stun their opponents. It is the only Medieval Mayhem game not in the 5th Warp Room. No trivia for this one, so we'll go to Oxide Ride. Oxide Ride is the final boss fight in Crash Bash. The battle has 2 phases. The first phase is a chase with Oxide. The second phase is similar to Crash Ball, but not with Oxide as the only opponent. In Phase 1 of the battle, the player must chase Oxide through an asteroid field similar to the final boss in Crash 2. The player must dodge several hazards, including asteroids, nitro crates, iron fences, and Oxide's missiles. Phase 2. In this phase, the player must beat Oxide at a game of Crash Ball. If an iron ball passes through the player's or Oxide's goal, they will lose health. Occasionally, missiles will be fired from 2 cannons next to Oxide's goals. These will also make the player lose health. There is also a red ball which will instantly kill the player if they touch it. So thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many balls did it take to kill Oxide? In part 5, I will be doing the 5th Warp Room. So until then, later everyone.